Ladies and gentlemen, episode 3 of Movie Cherry Mondays. We actually have a full panel today. Back at it, Jake, Tato. Tato, were you able to watch your movie today? We haven't talked about it. If you confirmed that you watched it, and overall, how you feel?
Can confirm. I did send a picture of the end with the great Bumble Ward.
That's what that was. I assume that's what it was, but also I was so like, I don't know what that means, so I just.
It's a Kevin Smith joke as usual from me.
That sounds about right. And then, because we're on a little bit of a time crunch it's going to be an hour. We have an hour, so in terms of the entire show, but we have to start on time. But we have a lot to talk about. So, JPO, your first time on. So you missed the first 2 episodes. You actually have a lot to discuss today. So how do you feel about knowing that you have a lot on your plate, as well as just generally speaking, how are you feeling? And congrats on 250 episodes of ASAT. Where is 204?
It's there. Well, you gotta subscribe to my Patreon for the bonus episodes that aren't uploaded on the actual YouTube. Yeah.
But overall, how you feeling, bud?
No, feeling good. I do like this concept here. There's definitely gaps and things I've overlooked, and for my first movie's 3 hours, I've always been hesitant to do that one, and but as you're assigned it, so you got to do it. And so far, I've really enjoyed the concept a lot, actually. So.
Absolutely. And like I said, we're on a little bit of a time crunch, and since we have a lot of movies to talk about, we're not going to do our what else have you watched bit. But before we get into that, Sandy, this is your first episode as well. You were late to the concept in terms of the invite, but you have jumped on, and you also have 2 movies that you watched. That's right, 2 movies without getting into what they are. You watched 2 for this?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Sorry, my headset wasn't on. I actually.
We're gonna give you 3 because so 3. All right, but so with that said, you did watch 3 movies that you're going to talk about today. Other than that, how are you feeling generally speaking, buddy?
I'm doing all right. It's hot here, but the rain has cooled it down a little bit, so I'm not doing too bad today.
I agree. It did rain today. It was one of those where, as a FedEx driver, the rain is definitely a thorn in my side, as they in the yay old ages. But it was very on and off, so it's good and bad for the weather. But with that said, Tato and Henry, we are going to take a back seat and let our quote-unquote newcomers, our cherries for the MCM Movie Cherry Mondays show, started off. So JPO, which is the first of your 2 movies that you want to talk about today?
Yes, given to me by Ant-Man, not Paul Rudd, but Antonio. JFK, the 3-hour Oliver Stone pick. Something I've always wanted to see because it does star just about everybody that was acting in the mid-90s here. That's part of why I did actually really dig this movie to a large degree. You do feel the time. That's about my only thing, is that I think it could have been made a little bit shorter because there's some stuff that starts to get kind of repetitive, and kind of like Zodiac, it doesn't totally have an ending because you can't. but I thought overall it was really good. I loved people just kind of coming in and out. Jack Lemmon, John Candy's great in this. Kind of wish John Candy got to do more dramatic stuff at points. Donald Sutherland's fantastic in his one scene, and also even Costner, who sometimes I'm a little mixed on, to be honest with you. I'm not the biggest Kevin Costner acting fan, but I thought he was pretty good in this as well, as somebody who kind of started this off not totally as a lark, but definitely didn't think it was going to go to the degree it would, and the family issues he was having with his wife at the time, Sissy Spacek, and I thought it was really good, actually. I think I gave it about 4 stars. Like I said, really the only thing was that you do feel the length. It was about the only thing here. You really tell, he liked his kind of almost trying to like a documentary style in a way too. I thought it was really well shot as well.
Is that your only Oliver Stone movie you've seen, or have you seen others?
No, I mean, I've seen others. I'm trying to think. I'm probably sadly have seen more of his more recent things, Savages, and I've seen
Killers,
both. I haven't seen that one completely.
Hey, give it to him next week.
Yeah, evidently I have some put that on there.
So with that said, who was your favorite? In the 3-hour length, who was your favorite character?
Well, it's hard to say because, like I said, some people kind of float in and out pretty quickly. Pesci's good. Even Michael Rooker, good to see him in a nice, just straight-laced role. I thought maybe the best monologue, the best scene was the park bench scene with Sutherland and Costner. They have really good back and forth here that really kind of engages you.
Okay, absolutely. I've never seen it, so it's actually a bummer. It kind of spaced on me because I was, I just finished up The Walking Dead. I promise that's the last time I'm going to talk about that, at least today, because we have a lot. But I just finished up The Walking Dead. So in terms
I just finished the second episode of the spinoff.
Yeah. Exactly. It's okay. But the Negan thing was crazy. But anyway, the point of what I'm bringing up is because I just finished Walking Dead, my movie watching has been off for the last month or so. So I kind of just spaced on I should have watched it so I could have at least had some input, because this has also been on my list. But like you said, the length just kind of hinders me in wanting to see it. I have other movies that like Troy and Kingdom of Heaven and other stuff. Those are ones that I'm hoping someone assigns to me eventually, just so I can say, oh, gotta watch it. But with that said, I haven't seen it. Tato, I'm guessing you haven't seen it.
Yeah, this one's also a miss from me, so I don't have any input.
Sandy, have you seen
it?
I have seen it, and I enjoyed it. Like, once again, it's the 3 hours, right? So you have to like actually commit to wanting to watch it. And I'd always wanted to watch it, so like 4 or 5 years ago, I popped it on and I watched it. It's a great ensemble movie. I mean, it's an Oliver Stone movie for sure. And the historical accuracy, that he goes for in this movie is really, really cool. The acting performances are what you would expect, other than John Candy, because we mostly saw him in comedic roles up until that point. So it's a great movie if you want to watch it for historical purposes. Is it a Oscar worthy type of movie that's going to last through it all of time? I doubt it.
Does it feel Oscar baity?
I think so.
Yes, but not to a bad way. Like, I mean, not overly like, please give it to us, but it's
have you guys seen Lincoln? How does it compare in terms of like that with the historical?
Because Lincoln was more of a they had more makeup and more like, it was more of a period piece, like a way more of a period piece. I mean, we're only going back 50 years, right? 60 years to JFK.
So even less.
So yeah.
That
so back
one's
to the
more
90s,
of a straightforward
less,
tale.
right?
This one almost like kind of tries almost being like a documentary kind of.
Does it feel like it's experimental, or does it feel like it's set? Like, have you ever seen American Animals? Does it feel like that, or does it feel?
Oh,
I mean, if anything, yeah, you could say American Animals might have borrowed a little bit from it to a degree. Yeah. I mean, that one again is a kind of a different beast because they straight up had like documentary interviews in there.
Yeah.
So there's really none of that here. There is some at the end. There's of course the big scrolls that kind of give you like an update of some shit, but like other than that, it's just the normal tale for the most part.
So aside from the 3-hour runtime, would you recommend this to like us?
Yeah,
hadn't seen it.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, I'm still at 4 stars at the end of the day. So yeah, that's definitely a recommendation for me.
Yeah.
If it's 4, it's good. Then Oscar Beatty.
Damn it! I was gonna make a Warren Beatty joke, but I was muted and the timing fell off.
Yeah, I thought about it too after the fact.
Someone assigned me Dick Tracy. I've never seen that.
Tracy, what's with all the questions
on the list? But Sandy, we'll jump over to you. You have 2 movies to talk about. What is the first one that you want to discuss?
So I actually watched 4 movies this week off of your guys' recommendations.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about one because I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I need to watch it again. It's so good, and I just want to watch it again because it's just straight up fire, like just out of batshit crazy fire. So, so the 2 movies that I'm going to talk about are Hesher.
Which just one at a time, just so we don't spoil. So
okay. So I'm going to talk about Hesher, is my first movie, and that was given to me by Jordan to watch it. Man, this movie is fucked. right from the beginning to the end. It is actually right from the beginning right till 3 minutes to the end. It's a completely shitballs movie. It's out of control. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like crazy good in this movie. Like he's almost unrecognizable. I almost thought he was a different person a couple of times in the movie, and I was just like, what? It's like it was during that time when he was getting physically fit for different movies he was doing, so he's like shredded, but he's got this long black hair, and he's got barely any dialogue at all. And this little kid, you hurt for every single time he's on the screen, because you know just how sad he is, because the premise of this movie is his family is torn apart. They just lost their mom or a wife, and so they're just a couple of months before this, so they're just really trying to rebuild the pieces. The dad played Rainn Wilson.
Interesting.
He kills it. He plays such an out of touch person. Like he's drugged up on medication because he's sad, all that kind of stuff. He's not working, nothing. The other good part about this movie is the grandma, who tragically, doesn't make it at the end, but she's great throughout this whole movie. She's the typical, I'm going to help everybody because everybody needs grandma's help.
Yeah.
And she basically what she does is she helps herself to death. That's what she ends up killing herself, or not killing herself. She ends up dying. Whether or not it's from old age or just complete exhaustion or whatever
Well,
it is.
in the heights, let's go, baby.
Yeah, and exactly. And
Get
so,
get you every time.
yeah. And so, so when she dies, it really changes Hesher, because Hesher is a dude that's just a transient guy. The reason he's involved in this family is because the boy, in his pissed offness, throws a rock through this developmental buildings, like this developmental housing complex, this building, glass, shatters it, and the cops are called, and that's where Hesher is squatting. Essentially, he's got his whole setup there and he's squatting, so he's pissed off at the kid, and so he's following the kid around, showing up in just the weirdest places, just popping up, and there he is, and the kid sees him, and then he eventually moves in with the family because he said, yeah, basically, you know what, you ruined my home, I'm coming to live in yours. He is foul-mouthed. He has no filter. The story he tells Natalie Portman about the 4 chicks he was with and what he was doing to them simultaneously. I'm telling you, it's in my top 3 monologues of all time. Like, that is just ridiculous. It's how he can just continue in a straight face. It had to have been one take. It just had to have been one take, because it just went so smoothly through it, and I was just like, what? Like, what? And Natalie Portman's response is great. Is that some kind of like fucked up way of like trying to get me turned on? You're just like, what? But it's a wonderful movie. At the end, all the feels come out of it. Like, they all were promising grandma that we're going to go on a walk with her in the mornings when she goes up, and nobody would do it, including Hesher. So when she died, Hesher went to the funeral, gave a eulogy, and then bolted out of there with the casket. And soon after he bolted with it, the kid and the father ran after him and held on and went and running with him. So walking down the street with him. So for everything that happens in the movie, the last 3 to 4 minutes of this movie is absolutely worth the watch. I recommend this movie. Go watch it if you haven't.
Would you consider it like a family dramedy? Is it a pure drama with comedy? Is it like what?
It's an R-rated dramedy. Black comedy, yeah.
Okay.
Black comedy better describes it. But it's R-rated. There's nothing about this. This is R-rated. So it's not a family.
Nope, nobody you've listed in that. Nobody in that cast is black. How is it a black comedy?
Speaking of black comedies, Jay, how you feeling today, bud?
I'm doing all right. I got fucking words.
Yes.
I'm doing fantastic.
That means we did
I got
well,
a Stanley
Plato.
Funko Pop. I got a fucking giant Stanley Funko Pop. Actually stands really small, but like it comes with a poster.
Nice.
Henry, quick, plug the channel.
Plug the channel.
What?
What's the channel name?
What channel?
The one we're on right now.
Why?
So I can send the link out.
Why are you making this difficult, Henry? Plug the channel.
I'm so confused. What are you talking about?
Anyways, I've watched several movies this week as well, but both of them are movies that I've recommended to people. I rewatched Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Hold on, just you showed up late, so because we're on a time crunch, we're not talking about stuff we've watched. We're only talking about the actual movies because we have a lot.
Okay, I watched Baby Driver. Shit was
one at a time. So that's the one you're going with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit was mid for the first act.
Fair.
And then it got a lot better. It's still, I think, the lowest. And I haven't seen One Night in Soho, so it's my lowest ranked Edgar Wright movie. But I get it. One night, last night, fuck it, whatever. I haven't seen it, so that's why I don't know the fucking title. All right.
So
It's trivia play. You should know the title.
So you're a huge Edgar Wright fan, or at least the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the only thing you're a fan of.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, what took so long? Is because what took so long? If you're
everybody just overhyped the fucking movie. Like everybody's like, this is the greatest fucking. This is the greatest thing that Edgar Wright's ever fucking put the
Well, you have weird friends, but just make your own opinion.
It's literally the Community, but that's just it. Every time I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna watch this, I end up watching something differently, and then or I watch something completely different, and then people are like, why haven't you watched it? Why haven't you watched it? At this point in time, I don't watch shit 9 times out of 10 because people tell me to watch something. The only reason I do it here is because it's movies that I haven't seen. And I ended up liking the second and the third acts of this film.
Who are your favorite characters? I feel like Bats is probably your guy, if I could guess.
Nope.
Really?
No. He made me uncomfortable as fuck in that movie, dude.
Probably Flea.
No, to tell you the truth, it's actually it's Buddy.
John Hamm.
Yeah, John Hamm. John Hamm did a fucking. I don't like Ansel Elgort. I think he's got a very fucking punchable face. He's got an incredibly punchable face. Which is fine because he does well. He like for a little bit in there, I'm just like, I don't fucking hate you in like the last half of this movie. The first half of this movie, I think you're a little bitch. Kind of like the way I think you are just in general in real life. I'm talking to you, Ansel. I know you're watching.
Comment below, Ansel.
Yeah,
1v1. You guys can do the prelim for Elon versus Zuckerberg.
Which actually got canceled, by the way.
Damn it.
By Elon Musk's mom, of all people.
What were your thoughts on the music, the driving, and the overall heist elements of this film?
The heist elements kind of fell to the wayside. Like, I get it. Like, Doc doesn't work with anybody outside of Baby for every crew since they started working together. Doc is a fucking pederast. We don't have to get into it. We will, though, if you want to later. Dude, it's not worth all the money in the world, apparently. Joke's never going to get old to me. I'm sorry. The driving in the movie is really...
his House of Cards collapsed?
Yeah. I'm saying we should send that man back to K-Pax. The driving in this movie is actually really incredible, and like part of me kind of hopes it's Ansel actually doing some of the driving and not just the stunt driver, because not a lot of what they're doing.
In fact, Ryan Gosling stunt driving. No, I'm just kidding.
From Drive.
Yeah.
But
Paul
like
Walker back from the dead.
Oh, no wonder he ran into that truck.
Yikes.
Oh.
I get it. It was a light pole, but there were poles on that truck.
Thanks.
Boom, still works. Yeah, the heists were really kind of not the main thing. It's that budding love between Debbie and Baby. I get it now. His name's fucking Miles. It's weird. There's a lot of shit in this movie. It's definitely worth a rewatch, but it's not one of those movies that I'd rewatch tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? That's what your conditions were the last time. This is a solid 3.5 out of 5.
And you said as currently your bottom Edgar Wright.
Yes,
but that's a high bar, so that's fine. Like,
yeah, like all 3 of the Cornetto trilogy are 4 or 4.5 star movies to me. Shaun of the Dead and fucking The World's End. They're not perfect movies, and I can understand that. This movie wasn't perfect to me. Everything's subjective. It's just, I'm glad I finally watched it. That way I can get people off of my fucking back about, oh, you haven't watched this goddamn movie yet. No, I haven't fucking watched this movie.
Tequila.
Now I can be like,
That's the whole point of the show.
You have anger.
Yeah, exactly.
I
do.
So I'll start first on my thoughts. This is my top 100. Take a shot. So I love Baby Driver. It is Any Given Sunday could be my number 1 Edgar Wright.
Never to finish Hesher, but okay.
Huh?
I don't feel like we ever went around for Hesher, but you know.
I'll let you double up on that because I know you're the only one who's seen it. But yeah, Baby Driver. I love this movie. It's one of those things where, luckily for me, I can separate art from the artist. So or artist from the art. So like I don't ever have that issue in terms of watching the movie because I know that a lot comes into play. So and with this one, Kevin Spacey not being in the movie that much really also doesn't make it too much of a big deal. So yeah, I love this movie. Like I said, Any Given Sunday, it's either this, Scott Pilgrim, or The World's End is my favorite Edgar Wright. Like it literally fluctuates depending on the day. So I love this movie. I'm glad you finally watched it.
No, I'm sorry. This is my second lowest rated Edgar Wright movie.
Scott Pilgrim.
Because Scott Pilgrim exists.
Nice. Mine too.
And Scott Pilgrim's is just a giant piece of shit.
Crap.
Well, do you know why they used to be puck?
Weird. You guys agree on that.
We're going to scratch out the P for an F. Tato, have you seen Baby Driver? And what were your thoughts, if you have?
I have not.
All right. Well, that might just be on the list for next week. Just
That's on your list, Tato.
You'll enjoy it. Sandy, how about you, bud?
I love this movie for a the main reason I love this movie so much is the music.
Yeah.
I love the music. It's music from when I was a kid. My mom would listen to this music all the time, and it was just something that I could just sit back and close my eyes and see those times again. The movie itself is okay. I really love John Hamm's character in the movie. It is high up on my list on Edgar Wright movies. It's third still, just because the music is so dead on perfect in this movie that it just gives me the feels every time I talk about it. So my first one is Any Given Sunday. Then I'm at fuck it, forget it. I forgot it. But no, Baby Driver's great. I can also separate the art from the artist, and this one doesn't bother me too much at all. So I rewatch it every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
for a second, I'm like, what's Ansel Elgort do?
Yeah,
not that.
Nothing. But his character in it is okay. Like he does his character well in that movie. It's his acting driving, if he's not doing any of the driving, is really good. The driving is especially good in this movie, but the music.
The opening bit with the 3 red cars, how they were able to like pull that off was so cool. Like I'm sure it's probably been done in a movie before, but I'd never seen it done in a movie before. So it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, wow, they're so smart and lucky. But like just like with everything with the Joker and the buses, like if you plan a plan well enough perfectly, and you're that good as a criminal, it's going to pay off.
I've seen that done a couple movies since then, but it's CGI. So where they add the extra cars in to make it look, no, it's all done by CGI. So
Baby never killed the bus driver.
But we also didn't put Baby in the corner. Taylor, you raised your hand. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. You just had a twitch. All right, JPO, your thoughts on both Baby Driver and Hesher?
No, I like Baby Driver a lot. I don't think Wright's made a bad film yet. Probably my least favorite would be Soho. I'd probably put Pilgrim over this, actually, just slightly. I think it's more watchable for me. But no, I like Baby Driver a lot. I think Wright as a director himself is just a really cool, stylistic director. So maybe that's kind of why I enjoy him in that wheelhouse. Hesher, I'm so glad someone else has seen and we can talk about Hesher, because that's the reason it came to my mind, is that I just don't think it's an underseen film here, that kind of like what he had said in the chat too. I don't know if he kind of reiterated it. You kind of like dislike it at points, but then man, does it really redeem itself at the very end, and it makes turns you don't necessarily see coming. JGL is fucking fantastic in it, so yeah, I'm glad someone else has experienced it.
I'm just going to respond really quick. The last thing, the only thing I've had a couple of days to like really sink it in, and I don't really hate anything about the movie except the fact that they did the Hesher with the Metallica umlaut things, and they only play like 7 bars of Metallica throughout the entire
probably movie. All they could afford.
Facts.
I know, it's all they can afford, but still,
you're actually probably lucky that they had that many.
Yeah.
I will go next just because I have like not too much to say about my movie. Tato gave me 16 Candles, and as a huge, not I want to say huge, but as a big John Hughes fan for Breakfast Club and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, both of my top 100, and Ferris Bueller, honestly, it gets better the more I watch it. I just hadn't seen enough, and I didn't grow up on it, so I don't have the nostalgia for it, but I do really like it. So like those 3 movies, like those are big for me. And then, the writing of like Home Alone, etc. I didn't really like this movie. I was bored. Like it didn't do much for me. And I'm not the type of person that where like, things don't hold up or age well. Like that stuff doesn't bother me because I can put myself in the mindset of like what they were doing, because, there's no grapes going on. There's just a lot of creepy shit. So I understand like teenage boys are going to be weird and creepy. And as long as they don't cross the line, they can touch the line because it showcases what people do. They never cross the line. So I mean, I'm okay with that. Not okay with it. Let me rephrase.
Depends on what they touch the line with.
Just their arm over the shoulder and taking creepy pictures. Like it's weird, but it's touching. Like it's definitely inappropriate, but in terms of like showcasing what they're doing. My point is though, that's not the reason like I was negative on the movie. I was just bored. Like I felt for what was her name? Samantha, right? Yeah, Sam. I felt for her character in terms of like everyone forgetting her birthday, and it was sad, and the wedding, and I was, I had empathy for that. Long Duck Dong is hilarious as a character. The name and the character point, at least starting off, is definitely inappropriate, but like the character himself was hilarious. So I do give him credit, but he's not really in it enough, and he doesn't, have any, nothing to do with like the big picture. So it didn't wasn't able to bring it up enough. And it's in a 90-minute movie. Like I said, I was fairly bored most of the time. The John Ryan character, there wasn't enough about him to truly for the audience perspective to latch on and understand why she's in such head over heels to him. Anthony Michael Hall's character, he's a nerd who's trying to act cool. So it's there's elements that you could latch onto, but I don't feel like there was enough redeeming qualities to care about him. You can, if for example, if you were that person growing up, then maybe you can sympathize with him more than the average person. But as someone who was not, in those shoes, it just didn't do much for me. I cared about him at some elements, but not enough. You know what I mean? So like I said, from start to finish, I was more bored than unfortunately I wasn't. So I'm gonna go 2 stars for this one. It really bums me out that essentially back-to-back weeks I just kind of broke your guys' hearts, because both of these going in I had high hopes with Can't Hardly Wait, and then with this one you
just hate high school, man.
No, these are literally the only 2. It's really crazy because if you look at my Letterboxd
so far,
yeah. So Tato, what are your thoughts as someone who applied this, and does your mom hate me?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. She might be popping up in the chat.
He's I told her, and she'll never gonna come back.
One thing I did realize, I
did you rewatch it? You said you were gonna.
I did not get a rewatch in. I ended up getting a couple of reactions in though.
Okay.
So I did get to go to refresher in that aspect. There's a long duck dong joke in 10 Things I Hate About You, which I gave Jay last weekend, which I realized was funny. The fucking Bianca thinks fucking Kim Jong Il's name is Long Duck Dong. Hilarious joke. Let's see, but yeah, a Japanese actor playing a Chinese character with a Vietnamese name. There, shoot on nature. It's good.
Thank you.
The list at the end says confidential on it, but it's misspelled. It says confidential. I don't know if you picked up on that. This is as a slight to your name.
I do appreciate the almost Easter egg for me.
Yeah. Joan Cusack, did you dig
her bit on the bus? Was pretty funny.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, she definitely looked more nerdy than him, and she was like, "Good one, pal." John Cusack being in it, you definitely, I didn't even know he was in this movie. I think at one point in trivia, that was a question or something. I've heard it before, but it didn't stick enough to remember going in. So when I saw it, it felt fresh. And him being one of the nerds, I definitely wasn't expecting that. So that was definitely interesting. There's tidbits to this movie that outside looking in, we're oh, that's interesting, or that's fun, or that worked. But as a whole, like I said, from start to finish, it just nothing really stuck long enough to really have an impact on me. I can't imagine ever rewatching this. Maybe I'll do reactions, and maybe there's elements that could go up based on just maybe I was checked out at that point, so it didn't latch as hard or whatever. But just unfortunately didn't hit as well for me. Sandy, I know that out of everyone here, you're the oldest. Was this before your time, or is this right around your time to hit? And does it hold up? Does it not, etc.?
So this is in my wheelhouse, right? It's 80s, right? So it's exactly where I was first going to start to go to movies, and as not one of the popular kids, but pretty much had my finger in every single group that there was in high school. And dipped my toe in every group of high school. I went to all these movies with friends and stuff like that. This is my least favorite John Hughes movie. I don't like it particularly. I don't like the Anthony Michael Hall character. I don't. I haven't, and I've loved him. He's great as the nerd in Breakfast Club. He's fantastic. He's great in Weird Science. I love Anthony Michael Hall. I hated him in this role. I thought it was garbage. I've never been the biggest Molly Ringwald fan, but her other stuff I like more. This seemed a bit, oh, woe is me. Yeah. It's your birthday, and that's great. I get that, but your sister's getting married. There's you know,
I will.
there's a limit where you can be a little bit prissy.
I'll back on that a little bit because it's specifically the 16th birthday. It was any other birthday, then yes. But you know, for
I get it.
a girl. But like I said, there's nothing in the writing that like makes us as an audience care. We understand. We can sympathize with her because of just obvious real life common sense. But nothing within the story makes us like care. Especially then by the end, it's just like, oh, I eventually got over it. I forgive you. Now I'm just worried about this boy. You know, it's like
I preferred Pretty in Pink to this movie. A lot of people would say I was crazy on that one, but I think there's a lot of people out there that do prefer Pretty in Pink to this movie, just because I think it's more of a complete movie than this one was. But I mean, John Hughes rarely ever misses the bullseye on a movie, so I'll give him this one as a
I've heard Curly Sue's bad, so I mean that's really the only one that I've really
that's true.
Heard. JPO, have you seen 16 Candles, and if so, what are your thoughts?
No, except for like Ferris Bueller, 80s teen things, and Breakfast Club. Nothing I've really gone on my way to see, so I've not seen this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say rush to do it unless Tato's mom's still in the comments. Then yeah, of course, go give your own opinion. Jay, you've had words. Have you actually seen it, or you've just seen clips and just
No, I've seen the movie. Like as soon as you were like, oh, you know, the Long Duck Dong character is not in the movie for for like a large portion of it. I'm like, he's right, but I don't think anybody quotes like a quote from this movie that isn't a Long Duck Dong quote, and it's just because like they're fucked up.
Like,
oh, sexy girlfriend, fucking, you know, shit like this.
When he's dancing with the girl, she's like, "What's your name? Long. What's your last name? Dong. What's your middle name?" Like something about the order of that, and then she was like, "Ooh!" And then when they're working out together, she's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Funny shit that happens in this movie. Fucking Shermer, Illinois, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Fucking Shermer, Illinois. But like, you're gonna make me do something that I don't like doing, and that's praising the Breakfast Club. I like the Breakfast Club more than I like 16 Candles. And that's not saying anything because 16 Candles Breakfast Club is mid. So if Breakfast Club is mid and I like that more than I like 16 Candles,
thank you.
Tato mom.
Yeah, dropping bombs. Leave Long Duck out of this.
Mom Tato.
All right, jumping over to Tato. I'm excited about this, Tato. Or I'm going to be heartbroken. What did you watch, and what were your thoughts?
I watched an Adam Sandler film where he, as usual, was all like "Abadoobie," and he was very wacky. And
I'm glad his internet cut out right there.
What did you watch?
Yeah, I got to fucking figure that shit out. Sorry about that. Right. Anyway, Punch Drunk Love. It was a deception. He's not all wacky and Abadoobie in that film.
Is he an Irish boxer in this movie?
See, that's what I would think too. No, I actually knew nothing about this going in, and so I'd known it was a rom-com, or at least that's what it's listed as in lots of sites, rom-com dram, as it were.
Long Duck Dong, rom-com job. Damn it.
So I know it's Adam Sandler. I know he's a blue suit, and I did expect more of a bit of a traditional rom-com, not quite no Drew Barrymore. But this also is the first movie I've ever seen directed by Mr. Maya Rudolph. So
really, okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, we'll keep that in the back pocket.
The worst Andersons.
Good thing it's not your turn to talk. Tato, continue your review, buddy.
I do prefer Mortal Kombat.
Thanks,
No, that's our Mission Impossible.
So, and I was gonna say, I've probably heard there's good trivia to this movie. There's a pudding.
That's the only thing that ever gets asked. What else do you have, bud?
I'm sure plungers.
Harmonium or tiny piano. Those are the only two that get asked. What else you got?
Phone sex.
Fucking yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Keep going, Tato.
Yeah, no, you're good. I
love this movie.
I was gonna say, plungers is askable, like shower curtain rings is askable.
Thanks.
From fucking obviously Planes, Trains. Fucking doop doop doop. Lot of definitely. I didn't know where it was going, and I had fun with it.
You cut out there, so it actually sounded like you were saying something important. What did you say? What did you have fun with?
Let's see.
You didn't know where it was going. What did you?
Yep. Had fun with the composition and the colors a lot. I don't know if that came into play when you were picking it for me, because I'm a big color guy and shit. Like, I'm fucking very easily entertained by fucking pretty colors on screen and shit.
Jay, bad Jay.
Keep
going.
But so yeah, a lot of my favorite parts of the flick were like the acid trippy parts in Hawaii and whatnot. The score I liked a lot. It played kind of like Untitled Goose Game. It's a game where you're this asshole goose and you fucking just run around wrecking shop in an English village, and the score as you play is very like light, and then you go fuck some shit up and it picks up and so the soundtrack very much did that in a less whimsical way than the game does. Philip Seymour Hoffman, gotta talk about fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman, because holy shit did he give the performance of this movie and of both movies from the past 2 weeks, which are comparable, this and Eternal Sunshine, which is obviously the catalyst for giving me this. So fucking like shut the fuck up. Just holy fucking Christ. It's my favorite Are You Threatening Me moment since Cornholio. This is for fucking sure. Let's see, fucking doop. He was really great.
So you're used to Adam Sandler as a comedic actor. How does this compare in terms of just his performance and just overall getting away from the doo-ba-doo-ba-doos?
Yeah, he was really good. I will compare and contrast him to Jim Carrey in the situation, because they're the same time frame. They're the same wacky comedians fucking playing the more serious mental role. I like Carrey a bit more.
Okay.
Not a huge ton. Half a star is where it ends up falling. And I also like Kate Winslet a lot more than Emily Thompson.
Emily Watson.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there's Emma Thompson and Emma Watson.
Emily Watson. Yes.
What are your last thing? The 90 minutes. Did it feel like it was 90 minutes, or is it one of those where it felt longer, ironically, than the
No, it played fine for me. Maybe it felt like an hour 45, but at that point, it's not that much of a distinction. So it did play short for me. Blue. So I really like all the technical aspects of the film. The acting is really good. To great from PSH. I really love all the shots. Like I said, the composition, the score works for me. Technically, it all works, but again, it doesn't hit me in my jellies. I do identify a lot more with Barry than I do with Joel, because my social anxiety is very similar to that.
That's kind of the point of this movie, and that's why I recommend it, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand that it's not the traditional rom-com. It's not just he's that boy, she's that girl type of deal. It's literally the way I describe it is there's always someone out there for everyone, you know what I mean? And this is a perfect example of that on screen. So even if we as people don't relate to them as a couple, we believe them based on the story that they are finding each other out, and they are religious,
they work.
So like I the jellies aren't going to be there from this, but it's more of just how well the writing and directing and acting are, that you believe though that they have that love, and that's kind of why I have always been attached to it. So since you love all the technical aspects of that, it definitely makes me want to give you another PTA movie, just because this is definitely the bottom in terms of more accessible overall. Like, I love it, but I get that this is not going to be for everyone, but it's definitely off the list for especially a lot of Adam Sandler fans. So I'm glad you did watch it, but there are other ones that, with everything you're saying, like Boogie Nights.
I only ever get Dirk Diggler right because of Tech Nine.
Yeah, Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood are definitely two, for based on what you're describing, of things that you'll definitely love a lot based on.
Might hurt you, but might hit you.
Yeah, exactly.
3.5 ultimately.
There you go. And would you watch it again tomorrow, or is it one that you would definitely need time?
Definitely another sit on.
There you go. All right. Sandy, have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
I haven't yet.
Okay, this is definitely one. I'll definitely keep that in mind because the quirkiness is just it's unmatched.
Yeah.
JPO, as your favorite movie of all time being Eternal Sunshine, have you seen Punch Drunk Love? And obviously they're not a direct correlation, but they're definitely interesting in terms of not your traditional romance movies, both of them. What are your thoughts on it, just in general?
No, I do like this movie a lot. I'm 100% on Adam Sandler, so can't offer me any Adam Sandler recommendations. No, I like this movie a lot. I do recommend it, kind of like Eternal Sunshine. I personally am someone that likes to sit for a while before you see it a second time, but I do recommend seeing both a second time at some point. I do think you see little other nuances in both. That I think there is a correlation between the two. I was a little thrown off that you kept comparing them, but that I do agree with the two. Is I think they're both definitely worth checking out again. See some nuances with the characters, with the sisters, with Eternal Sunshine, with some of the background stuff and everything. So
elements, they're definitely. It's not, like I said, it's just non-traditional, and that's why I feel like they're interesting.
Yeah. No, it is. It's definitely not the typical movie you expect from those two. And maybe that's, I think, part of the reasons I dug with them, even from an early age too, is that I walked in, just going, okay, it's a Jim Carrey movie on VHS, like for free at the library. And then same thing with kind of Adam Sandler, like, all right, I like Adam Sandler, and it ended up being like really kind of eye-opening.
Yep. Jay, have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
I have, but it's been a decade since I've watched it, so I don't
really remember liking it at least. Like, do you remember at least generally how you felt?
I didn't like that it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be as an Adam Sandler movie, but that doesn't mean that like I'll give it a rewatch, obviously, but like it's not anything that I have strong feelings on other than PTA is not the best Anderson that starts with Paul. I'm just saying.
Sandy, we're back over to you. You have two possible that you're going to talk about. What is the one you want to talk about first?
Okay, so the one that Jay gave me, I'm saving for next week.
Oh,
I need to watch it again because so much went by. The one I'm going to talk about is Bullet Train because we talked about that. So I watched Bullet Train. This movie is absolutely insane in a really organized way. Actually, it's not just like whiz bang boom ball things flying everywhere. There's a purpose for everything that happens on that train, and that's the fantastic thing. I love the relationship between I always
brothers
and Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry,
and Lemon.
Yeah,
I love that.
And
Aaron Taylor Johnson is now. I'm now looking more forward to Craven than I was after watching this movie because dude has got a level of seriousness and of funny that you can't tell which one he's doing right at the moment that he's doing it. So I like that. He's got a little bit more mystery on him now. That makes me happy. Brad Pitt in this movie is fantastic. When is Brad Pitt fantastic? He's great. Like the guy knows comedy like anybody's business, and he just doesn't look like he does. And Sandra Bullock in his ear, ladybugging, that's the best. That little group of people that they all hang around each other all the time. When they get together on something, it's just magic, no matter what it is.
Is this the
I don't remember any of the names basically other than the two things. So I'm not going to give everybody's art of who they are. The little girl, whoever plays the little girl, did a fantastic job. She was smart, sassy, and she had, a real balls ass ending. And everybody else that was in it. It was a puzzle that was getting put together, and it was great. And then the question that was asked on our thing, this thing, that stupid Fiji bottle, man, did it get traveled around a lot. And they needed that entire segment to show you just how much it had gone around and where it came from and start, because there was no Fiji bottles on the train to begin with. So where did this one come? That's where it came from. So that stupid kid not getting it out of that vending machine. And you were right. You only know if you know. Yep. So it's so I'm happy I watched it. It was a really, really fun movie. I'm definitely going to watch it again, and catch some of the stuff that I may have missed somewhere else. And all the people that came on and got killed, it's so good. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, fantastic.
Hiroki Sanada, he's just so cool. He's like, you know what that is? Brad Pitt's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you when I said yes. Like lines like that are just making fun of other movies that they need a monologue. They still monologue, but he's like, no, I heard you. Like I know what it means.
Yeah.
Ricky Sonata's a badass though.
Yeah.
Or the conversation at the end of at the end when they're on the train and the old man sitting there with Brad Pitt. He's like, "I'm going to tell you a story now." He's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just,
I was actually
short.
It was for you, I think.
It was
short.
With
I'm
old
good.
girl.
No, I'm telling you, I'm good.
Yeah. It was
long
with
ago, and he's like, "Oh."
She was like, "You know what this does?" He's like, "Yeah, I know." And then she starts describing the poison. He's like, "No, I said yeah." And then with the rose product, "No, I'm good." Just little
Bitch.
it's like,
What do you think, bitch?
Long ago. Oh, you hear that sigh of fuck.
Bullet Train is a great reaction one to watch when people
It's
react
good.
to it, just because you can just watch it and just have fun. It's gonna become a new background movie for me, not because it's like you don't want to pay attention. There's just so much fun that you could just do dishes or
listen
whatever,
to it.
turn around and just check in at any moment and have fun with whatever you're watching.
I
Yeah.
agree. So thank you for that.
So a lot of us have talked about it, before. So we're gonna kind of be vague on that one. We love this movie, but we're getting short on time, and I don't want to shortchange JPO. He has another movie to talk about. JPO, what is your next one?
Green Street Hooligans.
There it is.
Alright, just making sure it was in order. Yes, this was suggested by Tato. A good film about Elijah Wood just got expelled from college and kind of falls in with his sister's boyfriend's friends, including Charlie Hunnam, Rafe Spall, who was recently on Who Dis for Picks and Lists, amongst others. And I actually dug this film. I mentioned Tato during the climatic ending. I'm like, I'm fucking nervous, which is good. It's a good sign that like you're kind of invested a little bit in these characters because shit goes down. A lot of just people trying to stick up for their beliefs, their cultural beliefs. Probably could have just talked it out, but movies you never talk it out. Just fucking you go for the gut, and and yeah, man. So I did walk away. I had a pretty good time with it. I don't love the little epilogue with Elijah Wood. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it.
Okay.
But
you feel
like I said,
like
kind of, yeah. Like there's just one more tag on with Elijah Wood, and like what he took from his experience. That like I don't know, I was a little iffy about it. Kind of, I
his
wouldn't mind
experience on Lord of the Rings, where Peter Jackson was like, "Here's how you end a movie." So he's like, "I'm going to do that with my."
No, the Kevin Smith one where he just breaks in Sam's mouth. Yeah.
Where Frida or whatever flat out bricks in his mouth. Absolutely.
Yes.
Credits.
Cum shot credits. I didn't hate this movie, but it really makes me wonder how like the director goes from this, Lexi Alexander goes from this to fucking Punisher Warzone.
Oh, really? That's cool.
I do need to rewatch it because I want to know if I really hated it or just wasn't what I expected the first time. But anyway, I have not seen Green Street Hooligans. Would you, knowing my taste a little bit, would you recommend it?
Yeah, so I think I'm right at about 3. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was talking to you. I know Tato would because obviously he just would recommend anybody. But you, as someone who just seen it for the
I would like. I'm right at about 3.5. Like it wasn't next level for me, but it was definitely good enough. Like romp. So like yeah, I think you would. I don't know if you'd walk away with it being super high, but I think it's worth definitely checking out.
How's Charlie Hunnam? Because I know a lot of people like to criticize.
I saw later on people criticize the accent. Maybe just I'm not a fucking accent expert. It never bothered me, and I thought he, at least as far as if you can ignore the accent, supposedly if it's bad, I thought he was good in it. So yeah, no, I liked it because he has to walk the line of he's a good guy, but he will also, he's also kind of a hooligan who gets in the fights and also might beat you up if you disrespect him or his family and his culture. And I think he kind of walked that line pretty good. So performance-wise, I thought he was good. Like I said, I know accent had been, I saw in later reviews, kind of questioned, but I personally didn't pick up on it. I was able to flow with it.
Tato, as someone who gave JPO this movie, what were your thoughts on his opinions on it, and just what are your general thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close to what I thought. I was hoping it would be in that 3.5, maybe up to 4. I didn't think there was any chance that this would be a 4.5 or a 5-star or anything. There's a lot of flaws in the movie.
To get that 4.5, 5.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's definitely flaws in the movie. I did rewatch this one because it's on YouTube. Spoiler alert. There was there's camera work that I was like, oh shit, and then it gets different, and then I realize it's related to the characters, to Elijah Wood's journey and shit. I don't know if you picked up on that at all, JPO. The first fight is very shaky and erratic, and then as the movie progresses, the fight scenes get shot differently, which is something.
Okay,
pretty cool.
like it all.
All right. Well, I'm glad that JPO kind of fit what you're going with this one. Sandy, have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, me neither. All right, Sandy, what is the last movie that you're going to talk about?
No, he done.
No, I got another one. I watched
Oh,
before,
my
and I just watched it today, and I told Henry I had. So I watched for the first time ever Do the Right Thing.
Wow.
I had never seen it before. It didn't particularly interest me and all that. I didn't really know anybody that was in it when it first came out. And that was back in the 90s, and I was an adult, so I was, there to make, decisions on which movies I wanted to go and see. And I did, because I didn't really know anybody in the movie, I didn't really go and see it. And then it just kind of got passed around. People would say, hey, this is a great movie, you should go and see it. I'm like, yeah, it's on my list. I'll get to it when I get to it. And then it just became a afterthought of not really wanting to see it.
80s.
Yeah.
89.
80s, yes, 89, sorry. And still an adult. But
Are we ever truly adults?
I really enjoyed it for what it was. Up until like the last 15 minutes of All Hell Breaks Loose, I was really enjoying all of the characters, the way that the whole street block was there. You had the three old guys on the one there, just swearing and getting out of there, pops from the House Party movies for all those who know. And you had this one business that was, everybody was around, it was the focal point of the entire movie. And Danny Aiello is the owner of the pizza shop, and Sal, and you know what? He did it really well. I didn't think he was a bad character in the slightest, just because he had, just a bunch of Italian people up on his, his board. It's his place. It's that's what he's got there. I thought John Turturro was the really racist one out of the entire group. The younger brother was, just kind of slow. Just a bit of a punk, and that was fine. He wasn't anything to do that. But John Turturro really played his role really, really well, I thought. I give it up to Spike Lee in this movie too, playing Mookie. Mookie was my favorite character right up until the end, when he just went through that, the trash can through. I understood why, but it was a departure from his character. So I was like, okay, all right. I didn't really get why. I know why you did it, but I don't know why they made you do it. There was a few other people that could have done it that would have made more sense. But it worked for the movie, and I understood the point he was trying to make. Other than that, there's just a really good ensemble cast in this movie that does what they're supposed to do incredibly well, to the point where it doesn't look like they're doing it. They're just that's how good the movie is. It looks like it's a regular street block that you're just watching through a picture window, in the neighborhood. So I liked it. I would probably move it into my top 150 movies of all time.
Oh yeah.
Just because I think it's the message that it was there to say is important, not just in 1989 or 1999 or 2009 or 2019. It seems to be still something that we need to get a handle on. And like climate change, because I can give you examples of people talking about climate change in movies way back into the 80s. So that's something that it's there, and we have to watch these movies in order to keep on pushing keeping on. Yeah.
So my one main question to you, as a non-American, how are you able to relate to just the American issues that this movie showcases? Not even just the African American culture, but just America in general. How is that able to portray to you as a Canadian, as a non-American?
I think Canada and the United States, for as much as we're different, we're a lot alike in a lot of things. So what hurts you guys hurts us too, and what hurts us hurts you guys. Because we're North America, even though we're separated with a border and we're different countries, I still consider us in the same global field. And what happens to you guys is generally stuff that we know about already. Same with, I don't know how much news you guys watch here, but I'm glued to American news all the time. So I know more about your guys' political system than I do my own. But I was okay with it. It was because I could relate, because the stuff is... the race relations is the big thing that I didn't really know about all growing up, because I lived in a community where I had, Muslim. A third of the city was of Muslim descent, a third of the city was Aboriginal, and a third of the city was Caucasian, and we all just got along. Nobody knew anybody for what they were or where they. I mean, I knew my Aboriginal friends lived on a reserve, or they lived where I lived, or there were different places, but I didn't differentiate. It's just where they lived. That's where their house was. It wasn't a place. You know what I mean? So I didn't grow up with that type of bigotry or that type of bias in my life. So I didn't really think about it, but I can see how younger people get brought into it more in the United States than they would have here. That's the only thing that I noticed the difference between the two countries, was that it seems a little bit earlier in age, where people in the United States are more accustomed to race relations than they are up here in Canada.
Absolutely.
At least when I was growing up.
So with that said, we are going to cut this episode short, just because we already have a commitment. So I actually want to continue this conversation. We're actually going to start this next week, because there's so much I want to talk about. Do the Right Thing, and I want to do it justice by talking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. I just wanted to get your opinions, just because you had seen it, but I want to continue the conversation and also let it sit on you a little, for another week as well. Yeah. And then obviously we'll talk about JPO's other movie, as well as the rest of yours and the rest of ours next week. So with that said, make sure you jump over to the Pierce Code Network. We're about to all be doing ASAT 250 for Jordan Pierce Owen's 250th episode of ASAT. So everyone here,
I got to write questions.
Wait, is this episode 250 or is this episode 249?
Fun fact.
Well, here's the thing about that.
Gotta go.
Oh, wait,
I didn't
Black Panther eats pizza. We eat pizza. That's all I gotta say.
Confidential. That is Jake Tato. That is Jay Burns. That is Sandy Salmon Robinson. That is Jordan Pierce Owens. This is Movie Cherry Mondays. Make sure you subscribe here. Live Confidential Action. Tato there. That's the channel name. It's not that hard to remember. It's been for over a month now. And then make sure you the Pierce Code Network. So we're gonna have a lot of fun over there right now. Latest Gators.
Bye.